Right. So, as the title of the video suggests, today I will discuss, how the upcoming Assassin's Creed Valhalla could bring Assassin's Creed back to, what we used to have. Now, whether or not the new direction of Assassin's Creed is good has been in some contention for a while now. Now, Assassin's Creed and The Witcher came together. They gave birth to a new baby in Origins. And then Odyssey just kidnapped that baby and ran away with it. Now, whichever side you choose to be in, one thing is undeniable. That is, Odyssey sold a shit ton of copies. Now, obviously, since that happened, we can expect RPG elements in all Ubisoft titles moving forward because that's how Ubisoft works. Now, obviously, they might be slightly tweaked here and there so as to, not look like they literally copy pasted the same game in different franchises. Now, unless, of course, someone else makes a different kind of third person title and that sells well, maybe Red Dead Redemption 2. Just saying, if you want to, you can rip it off as well, Ubisoft. Now, where does that leave Assassin's Creed? Well, obviously we can say goodbye to everything that basically made Assassin's Creed into Assassin's Creed. All we can expect is, honestly, your by the numbers roleplay game. Now, is that bad? Not really, because if we look back at the Assassin's Creed games of the past, before Unity, the gameplay in Assassin's Creed was never really that good. Black Flag, many people like Black Flag. I like Black Flag because of the ship combat, not because of the Assassin's Creed gameplay. So, do we really want to go back to that? I don't think so. What we need is an evolution. So now, obviously, by now you must be wondering, the title was How Could Valhalla Bring Assassin's Creed Back? And I haven't talked about Valhalla in like the last 2 minutes. Don't worry, hold your pants, we'll get there. Now, obviously, ever since Odyssey came out and, if anyone knows anything about me, I do not like Odyssey. But even then, I've been wondering, how do I tweak Odyssey if I were to make a game? How would I tweak Odyssey to make it more in line with the pre-established lore that we have? So, and that is what I'll share with you all today, and that is how I expect Valhalla to work. Now, in the first point, I have bringing back social stealth. Now, obviously, many people miss social stealth. Most people don't care. So, if you have jumped into the franchise after Origins and Odyssey, you probably don't even know about social stealth. But I still feel like it would be a great addition to the series. Now, you would wonder, how will it work? Surely you cannot expect social stealth in a series that is all about damage numbers and attacking someone and yellow numbers popping out of them. How will social stealth work in a system like that? Now, it would work because Unity. Now, yeah, remember little old Unity back in 2014? Yeah, it had stats tied to social stealth, which depended on what you were wearing. So, for example, some of the legendary sets, like so I think that was one of the revolutionary, the red one. If you wore that, it kind of increases your stealth because you look kind of like the revolutionary soldiers, the ones wearing the red colors. And that made sense. That is what I want, but better. So now I'm going to again take Odyssey as an example here. So now in Odyssey, we had two factions, the Sparta and Athens. Now Sparta was red, Athens was blue, and so on. Now say I was wearing the Spartan legendary set, which is there in the Odyssey, the main game. Then it should, in theory, let me pass through a Spartan camp without anyone suspecting me because I'm wearing their armor. Now obviously, there could be a system which they could borrow from Hitman where some of the elite enemies, they can know like, yeah, I don't know you. So you are probably not from here, and they might start asking you questions. So that would kind of, switch up the gameplay a bit. You don't just have to sit in a bush and just go from bush to bush and just stab someone from behind. You actually can use your head. And you can get inside a camp wearing proper attire, get inside, get out without triggering anyone, without anyone knowing you were even there. The kind of gameplay an assassin is supposed to have. But obviously the same armor that you're wearing in this won't work in an Athenian camp because you look like a Spartan general and they will see you entering the gate. So it won't work. Now, just to stress how easy this system is to implement, Even Skyrim has it. You know, Skyrim, that buggy mess of a game. I'm not doubting Skyrim is an excellent game, but it is a buggy mess. But even there it works. So like if you go into a Stormcloak camp and you are wearing the Imperial armor, they will recognize and they will comment on that. So now I am assuming a game as sophisticated as Assassin's Creed can achieve that in a much better way. Plus, bringing back social stealth would mean the player has more opportunity in stealth. Like we can select our approaches like we used to in the older Assassin's Creed games, like even in Unity. And plus, you know, the way it could work is you could add perks like 50% damage when blended in crowd. And you could have specific attacks, like specific armor pieces that would make you blend better with the crowd, but not so much with the soldiers. So that way you could have different gear sets to do different things, and you can mix and match, you can make a jack of all trades builds, you can do many things with it, because after all, it would be an RPG. Now, obviously, when I said blended in crowd, there could be another ability where it could be like minus 50% detection range for Spartans. So as I said, like for example, you're wearing that red Spartan armor. So when you go into the Spartan camp, maybe you have a 50% less of a detection range. And so when you walk past a soldier, maybe it's the detection range is so low that he doesn't really notice you and he just lets you pass. And obviously I'm still considering Odyssey here. And all of this would blend in perfectly with the next point that I have to discuss. The next point is more urban environments. Now, in this section, I will reference the game that started it all, Witcher 3. Now, the Witcher 3 is the reason why Ubisoft started shoehorning RPG elements into virtually every game that they make. So, yeah, obviously that's the game that started it. Now, seriously, respect to CD Projekt Red, because they managed to make a game that literally changed the way games were being made in an entirely separate company. So, you know, praise to them. Now, obviously many people don't realize, but Novigrad in Witcher 3 is probably one of the best locations in the game, and it is a densely packed city. And it is the kind of city where Assassin's Creed game would work really, really well. Now, not to mention that it wasn't the only city in the game. Oxenfurt was another city, though it was obviously smaller than Novigrad. And a huge portion of the main story is actually set in both these cities. Now, I'm not going to go into any spoiler territory in case you are one of the people who have been living under a rock and haven't played Witcher 3 yet. But still. Now, obviously, a huge portion of the main story is set there, and a significant chunk is set in Skellige. And we'll get to why that is important later on. Now, as long as Ubisoft is ripping off other games, why not rip off this part as well? I mean, have your huge open country, have that huge open map that is too big for itself. No one cares. Have that. No one is telling you to do it anything otherwise. But maybe, just maybe, stitch some urban environments in there. And urban environments in a way that actually look and feel urban, and not like Athens in Odyssey, which just feels like, you know, a tightly packed village and not a city. Seriously, Alexandria in Origins was better than Athens in Odyssey, a game that came 1 year later. But yeah, enough of that. Anyway, but even with that, Athens was a good start. Obviously, you could build on that. And Athens was, I am going to, forgive that because it's an ancient city. Witcher 3 was, if you consider timelines, it was set in the medieval era, it was set after Odyssey in a way. Obviously, it's a completely separate universe, but I'm saying as far as the setting is concerned. Now, obviously, when you do that, if you have urban environments, you can have social stealth as a part of the gameplay. Stealth would be much important because, not everything is open and enemies can't see you from 50 meters out. So that would help. You could have interior areas. The map would actually be a lot bigger than the normal Odyssey map was, because you will have interior areas as well. And, it could genuinely enhance the gameplay. It would genuinely enhance what people are doing in the game, rather than just going berserk or just, having special abilities to kill 5 people in a row. People could actually genuinely measure their approach, go into an area, clear that area in a way they want. And of course, you also have the Odyssey gameplay. I'm not telling you to get rid of it. It was good, so I'm not telling you to get rid of it. Anyway, after embellishing a lot of that, So as far as appealing to the widest possible audience, which Ubisoft usually does, this could appeal to a very wide audience. It could appeal to the original Assassin's Creed fans and the newer Assassin's Creed fans and RPG fans in general, or open world fans in general. Now obviously you would have to work hard for that, which is something Ubisoft isn't really known for. So there's that. Now on to the third point, that is, make your writers actually play the previous game. Or at least let them know what the hell this series is about, so that when they write about something, they know actually what they have to write about. I think there were even some rumors that they hired a random guy of EA to write the First Blood, the Legacy of the First Blade, and it shows. Because how many mistakes did that one DLC have in terms of writing? Also, please check whatever is being written. Please, contact some people who actually know what the lore is about. I mean, there are guys who run the Assassin's Creed wiki. They know what the lore is about. Please maybe just contact them, let them, be involved in the story making process, so that, we don't have the mistakes where crucial events in history are being, fast forwarded by 2000 years. Because that's frankly embarrassing for a series that's supposed to be showing historical accuracy. Odyssey is a game that had a discovery tour. So they essentially made it into a virtual museum, which was great. I'm not complaining about that. But when you are making a mistake of showing pyramids and the Great Sphinx being built 2000 years after they were actually built, you kind of lose your credibility. Now, I know Darby McDevitt is involved in this project, so I'm not actually that worried about writing in this game, because he was involved in Revelations, he was involved in Black Flag. I don't think he was involved in Origins, but he was definitely involved in the other two, and they were some of the best stories that were told in this franchise. So there's that. So now we move on to number 4, that is, get some balls. Now, please, Ubisoft, get some goddamn balls. If you want a character of a different gender, if you want to make a female character, then do it right. Do not half-ass it like Odyssey. Honestly, this just feels like you are doing the minimal amount of effort to, avoid the maximum amount of risk. It just feels like you are too scared of the crowd that is going to say, yeah, this is a female protagonist, there is a agenda going on and whatever the fuck else. Do not care about that. If you want to make a character, do it right. This 2-character thing doesn't work. Now, I know Valhalla already has the 2-character setup, and I think even Darby McDevitt tweeted on Twitter that both are canon and they did something story-wise to make that possible. Now, I am hoping that the reason isn't as dumb as it was given in Odyssey. If the reason is good enough, I will accept it. If the reason is decent enough, I will accept it. It just needs to make some amount of logical sense given the lore that we already have. Or it needs to set up something that makes sense. So there is that. Now, also if you're trying to, do this 2 characters things, like you can select the male Eivor, you can select the female Eivor, why not just give us a whole character creator then? Grow some balls. Give us a character creator. Because at this point, does it really matter? Are you guys anyway following the lore anyway? You aren't. Just make up some excuse. You could say, the DNA was so corrupt that we literally cannot figure anything about the character. So you make the character, you select everything, you play the story, whatever. Do that. Or, you could, I can give you some idea about it. You could say that this is made by Abstergo. So essentially, this is just an entertainment product, which the assassins are using for some reason for genetic purposes or something. You have the story writers. I'm not a story writer. I can only play and see if it makes sense. Yeah, I do the minimal amount of effort. I'm even lazier than Ubisoft in this. I'm not going to lie about that. I am very lazy. Because I am not actually making this game. Yes, I am being extremely passive aggressive about this game, because honestly, I am a little pissed off about Odyssey. I am a little pissed off about the leaks that happened. Now, going to the leaks, I'm not going to comment on those leaks because I saw the leaked gameplay. Many people are saying, oh, the animations look janky and this is just, very weird to look at. What I saw was a very early build of the game, and it is not correct to judge a game that early. The story could be shit, the gameplay could be shit. I'm just saying we don't know it yet. We have to wait till the game comes out, or at least we have to wait till the 12th when Ubisoft drops the reveal. because the animations that I saw, they can be tweaked a little. Maybe the distance of the dodge can be reduced, or maybe they could add slightly more to that animation. And this was a very early build of the gameplay, and honestly it was probably some tester just testing that build out, and you really shouldn't judge the game by that build. Now moving on from that, fifth point, try something else. I know this is incredibly hard. I just said I'm the laziest person alive. Trying something new is incredibly hard for me. I even started, when I started using my own voice in this channel, I was very nervous and all that, and I didn't want to do it. I didn't even want to make the video that I made last. I know it is incredibly hard, but people might appreciate if there was something different in these games. Some real innovation like Ubisoft has done in the past. For example, Rainbow Six Siege is a huge innovative game. No one can deny that. Yeah, you can say like, yeah, it is kind of a spiritual successor to the Counter-Strike, but with aiming down sights. Or, it was kind of, the formula was there, hero shooters were there, Team Fortress 2 was obviously there. But even with all that, this game had something that was different. It had destructibility. It had something that no game had tried at that point. Same with For Honor. It's not that Ubisoft cannot innovate. Ubisoft can innovate. They just don't take many risks with their marquee franchises like Assassin's Creed or Far Cry. Now, what they are doing with Watch Dogs is a huge risk. They are essentially removing the whole concept of protagonists. That is something I want to see in Assassin's Creed games or Far Cry games. Just do something different, try something else. Maybe you guys will hit gold with that. Now, yeah, if they do any of that, this game just might end up as a good game. Now, obviously, if we want a proper Assassin's Creed game to return, I guess we will have to make a humble request to CDPR. So, if anyone from CD Projekt Red is listening to this, I mean, I really highly doubt that. But if you are listening to this, can you guys please consider making a stealth action adventure game? Then maybe Ubisoft will copy that and we will have a decent Assassin's Creed game for one. So yeah, that being said, that's all done. And let's just see how the reveal goes. I don't know how the reveal will go. I'm not particularly excited for this game, but that could just be me getting older mentally more than my actual age. But this is probably the first time I'm not at all excited about an Assassin's Creed game, and honestly, if you see the fact that I don't really like Odyssey, you can know why. That being said, I really hope this game can succeed, because if you guys saw the review that I made of the entire series, in the Odyssey section I specifically said this game was actually very, very close to being a good game. It was obviously an average game, but what it lacked was good writing. Now you combine that good writing with some elements of the Assassin's Creed gameplay that has been evolved for today's generation, and yeah, this could be an excellent game. We just don't know it yet, and maybe I'm just being pissy for no reason. So all that being said, I'll just leave it here, leave it out there. Let's just see how it goes. Let's just wait till the 12th. Maybe I'll have some good news on the 13th. Yeah, so just bye for now.